Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back.
You look super cute today. I think we're a little matchy. I'm wearing a black top and jeans. You're wearing a black top and jeans. I think it's cool.
Okay,
I like
there you
it.
go.
I
got
like
my mom's vintage earrings on today.
Oh, they're very nice. Yes, I like that. They look like a dream catcher.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They were made for her by a friend of hers.
That's fun.
I don't know, probably.
Was it her friend Londa?
No.
That'd be a cool story if it were her friend Londa.
Yeah. No, it was not.
Okay. The Session with Londa and David is a business program where we lovingly talk about the three things that are most important to our business lives, and they are
Real estate, restaurants, and retail sales.
with a combined 50 years experience in sales and retail and
I'm
restaurants.
telling you.
It's probably 60 years if you count everything.
I'm telling you now, I just realized yesterday my first grown-up sales job 35 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, I was like 7 then.
I don't think so. You're not 42.
That's true.
Try that math again.
I realized something sobering today when we were in a sales meeting talking about
Mortality
motivation, and I
My
realized in about 6 weeks I will be the age my mother was when she passed away.
Oof.
How weird is that to think about?
What comes up for you when you think about that?
Well, I don't know is the answer. It's a weird conflict, right? Because 52 years, 2 months, and 2 days, that's how long my mother was on this planet. Mm-hmm. And, I'll be 52 years, 2 months, and 2 days in about 6 weeks. It's interesting. I have a lot more I need to do. Now, here's the good news. I think I've already won the race a little bit because she was sickly for her last 2 or 3 years of life.
Yeah.
So it's an odd thing to think that you are the age of your parents.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
It really occurred to me today when we were in that sales meeting that I'm my mom's age when she died.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah. Along that same line, our very oldest child is turning 33 on Monday.
Yeah.
And I remember turning 33 and thinking, having a conversation with my mom and how does that make you feel when your baby's 33? I remember having that conversation with her, and weird is the answer to that question.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I think of myself as being a forever person. Like I'm going to live forever. I'm not the healthiest person in the world. Don't get me wrong. But I do believe that I'm the same person internally that I was when I was 21 and full of possibilities. Do you know what I mean? I feel the same. I've seen some stuff since then, but I'm generally the same in my brain. And I can't imagine slowing down.
Being full of possibilities is actually something we've talked a lot about today. And that, the idea of this, the world constantly tells you that you can't.
Right.
In one way or another.
Yes.
Like you've got one chance to make a good first impression. Well, that's true.
Like fancy.
Yeah. And, you use it or lose it.
Right.
All those kind of little quippy little phrases that we use that are meant to motivate, I think. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they feel like, sometimes they make people, should all over themselves. If you've heard that term, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Should have done this and I should have done that. And now it's too late. That kind of thought.
Sure.
And man, life is full of possibilities.
It really is.
Yeah. And I have long said that success is not the ability to focus.
Right.
It's the ability to refocus. The winner is the person who can get up the fastest.
Right. That's
when they're
exactly
knocked
right.
down.
Yeah.
That's the winner in life.
You've seen every fighting movie trope in the world, right? Rocky wasn't the greatest technique boxer in the world, but he could take the most beating and keep going. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
There's something to be said for grit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I hope that we remember that as we are having our daily conversations with one another in business, in family. I hope we remember that as we are raising children and grandchildren as they come along. There's something about learning grit.
Sure.
That will serve you your whole life.
I read an article just the other day on my phone because that's where I get all my good articles. And it was about gentle parenting not working. And the article went on to say that children who aren't given clear boundaries are flustered everywhere they go. They flounder in their activities outside of the home because they've never had someone giving them boundaries and expectations. And it was a very interesting article. Very interesting. And it talked about also, and I don't mean to go into the weeds, but it also talked about how kids are being now diagnosed with PTSD at a greater rate than ever in history. And I thought it was very interesting because you would be shell-shocked if you go to school and you're 10 years old and you've never been told no, and all of a sudden no. You know what I mean? That would be shocking. Mm-hmm. I think the teaching your children a little grit is necessary. You know, when I was a kid, when we went to Little League, if a baseball hit us and we cried a little bit, the coach would say, rub some dirt on it and let's keep going. Mm-hmm. And you would. Mm-hmm. And no one, you know, it wasn't a catastrophe.
Right.
Now, if a kid gets hurt at a practice, it's a catastrophe and the whole thing shuts down. I don't understand it. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. And I'm not comfortable commenting on gentle parenting, and I'm not comfortable commenting really on much parenting at all. Even though I raised 7 really successful, pretty dialed in kids.
And you have 2 pretty dialed in stepkids too.
Yes. I didn't get to raise them. That's why I didn't, mention it. But I don't care enough to comment, I guess, if I'm being honest. So but I will say this.
Okay,
I can look at the sales world.
Yeah.
And I can see the same thing. I can see that those of us that came up in sales in the 80s and the 90s, our mentors were mean and they were tough and they were strict and it was for my betterment. Right. I know that for certain.
Yes.
And now, I had a client recently, a coaching client say to me, you really hurt my feelings when you said this or did this. Mm-hmm. And I immediately said, I apologize because it's never my intention to hurt your feelings. Ever. I never purposely do that.
Sure.
I will tell you that because of my style, mm-hmm. it's going to happen again. And if that's a problem, this needs to be our last meeting.
Sure.
So I think there's something to be said for, I've grown a lot and I've changed the way that I do it. Sure. I don't train the same way I was trained 20, 30 years ago. The techniques are different, society's different, et cetera. I've kind of come along with the time.
And you have to, right?
Yes. However, I will say that was more about knowing who I am and my personality and my tonality. And there are times when I'm just fed up and I will say shit that is going to hurt your feelings. And, I was thinking about this a minute ago, this episode. I thought, how in the television series Friends, mm-hmm. the titles of the episodes were always the one that blah, 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 the one where blah, 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 the one that. You didn't know that?
I know.
Okay. It was always, the one about blah, whatever.
The one where Chandler gets a job.
Yeah. The one where, and I thought this episode of The Session might be the one where Londa finally just loses her shit.
Here's why I brought this up. Because you in sales need to be able to overcome adversity.
Sure.
And if you don't learn that as a young person, it's going to be a lot harder to get to it as an adult. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The book that's titled Grit, and I don't remember the author right now, but Google is free. Excellent, excellent book.
Yeah. I think a lot of kids who play team sports get that still.
Yeah, because coaches are mean.
Yeah.
Right? You got to have a little bit of, I don't know, and I don't know what to call it, and I don't really even know what it is, but all I know is I was, raised without a lot of grace.
Sure.
Never given space for my feelings. Never, it was rough. It was rough. It was not easy. And everything that makes me who I am was shamed consistently and regularly. And so that wasn't easy. And I have a lot of side effects from it now, but you're going to have side effects from anything. So I've learned how to take all of that and use it to my advantage in my life. So, I'm not upset about the way I was raised, even though by definition, pretty traumatic.
Okay.
I'm not upset about it because I've learned how to use it. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
So I suffered some really horrible abuse as a child, as many children do. I'm not anything special or unique.
Do we need to give
common.
a trigger warning?
We sure don't.
Okay.
No, because I'm going to be very careful.
Okay.
In surviving this abuse, I learned what they call trauma splitting, where you go someplace else in your brain while this is occurring.
Sure.
Okay. And, that's not healthy, right? It's so bad in the present that I have to make my brain go someplace else to survive what's happening.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is as an adult in sales, I don't get super emotionally wrapped up when I'm sitting across from a client and they're screaming at me because they're all emotionally spun out. I just kind of click into this other place in my brain that's not emotional.
Yeah.
It's pretty logical. Now I'm mature enough and I've had enough therapy and I've studied enough to know how to be with them in the emotion and sit with them and hold that space for them and let them feel what they feel. Very little effect on me because of the trauma splitting. So I would say, if you just decide as a very young person, whatever happens to me, I'm going to use to my advantage, you'll really be far ahead of your peers.
Sure.
I've heard it said this way: things don't happen to me, they happen for me.
I like that. You know what I mean? I talk about how I see the world as a pretty happy place. I think that was a survival skill.
Yeah.
As a child. Because I moved a lot, like every 6 months.
Yeah.
During my formative years.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had friends that came and went, and I never had closure with those friends that went because I kept it open.
Right.
And to my parents, I don't
credit.
know. Yes, to my parents' credit, they had us keep in contact with the places we had been. So every now and then we go to Columbus, Georgia, or you know what I mean? And that kind of thing kept me connected all through my youth to these same people, but I wasn't there on the day-to-day. So I learned to look at every opportunity, thanks to my mother, as an exciting opportunity.
Because that's how she framed it and pitched it to you.
Correct. She was selling always. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was great. Now, my kids have a lot more stability because they grew up in the Pacific Northwest. They're from Louisiana. They were born in Louisiana, but Caitlin was 4 when we moved to the Pacific Northwest, and we're still here.
Right.
So, my kids didn't have that same upbringing that I had, but I don't think we gentle parented either. And I know you don't want to talk about that.
No, but I think, you never had to hide in a corner to keep yourself safe. True. While there was chaos.
And that sounds awful.
In your home, right? That kind of thing. And that's a very mild example of the kind of trauma that I went through. But and thank God you didn't. But you had your own stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
And everybody does, which is why if we're just kind and gentle with each other and always just have heaps of allowance for one another. Yesterday I was presenting in front of a room of realtors, and I screwed something up so bad that I should have known. I'm a managing broker. I should know these things, that kind of thing. It was one of those, like, how do you not know that is wrong and this is the right? And thankfully, I'm just elastic enough which is really about being humble and being authentic and not worrying about messing up. I'm just elastic enough that I'm in front of this room full of people and I make a mistake. Somebody says, no, it's this way. And I go, oh, well, that first of all, that's even worse than I thought it was.
Sure.
And I guess we're all just learning together, and we kind of walked it through. And I had a realtor who was in that meeting tell me today, I'm really glad that you messed that up, because then we had to kind of all learn it together the right way.
Right.
And I think it really helped me to learn it better.
Right.
I thought, well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's actually a good term. I've never used that term before. I'm elastic enough. But I like that, actually.
Sure.
I don't know where that came from, but, the bounce back ability.
Right. Yeah. Like Tupperware.
Yeah, you just flex, man. Just flex with what's going on.
That's right.
I don't know. Like, don't get so uptight. When we start getting super uptight, I have somebody that I coach that gets super wound up and uptight about things and wants everything to be perfect all the time and everybody to be perfect all the time and doesn't make a lot of allowances for mistakes. And I'm like, ooh, you better be careful, because you're going to need that. You're going to need some elasticity one day, because we all make mistakes. And this is a business. Real estate is a business where you learn something new every single day that you didn't know before.
Absolutely.
It's not a constant. If you think you're going to come in and it's going to be, you learn this one set of rules or whatever way of doing things, and it's never going to change, you're wrong. You better go do something else, man.
That's right.
This isn't it.
If you want to be successful in sales, the number one thing to know is people.
For sure.
Know people. If you know people and you know how to communicate with people, how to listen to people, and how to ask questions and elicit the information you need to get to know them, then you can be successful in any kind of sales.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rapport building is super important. I'll tell you, this is where Starbucks is really falling down.
Let me tell you, it's a different place right now than it was a year ago. I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, they wanted to almost be like a living room atmosphere, right?
Right.
This is the third place that you gather with your people. And now, man, it's just not that way anymore.
Okay, I have a bone to pick with McDonald's.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, we rolled into McDonald's, and you've heard me tell the story about how right before COVID happened, I rolled into McDonald's in Tri-Cities, Washington on Canal, and went in, and the kid standing there did not greet me when I came in. And I said, excuse me, can somebody take my order? And he pointed to a sideways TV, and he goes, you need to use the kiosk to make your order. I said, well, I can talk to you, though. There you are. Can I just give you my order? Because I haven't had the training on the register. I don't work here part-time. So no, thank you. No, you need to use the kiosk. And I said, I'm never coming here again. Thank you. And moved on down the road.
But then
COVID broke out and they couldn't use the terminals because you had to touch it, and that got people sick. So they had to have people again.
And you're married to someone who every once in a long while, about twice a year, gets a real bad McDonald's craving.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's right. So yesterday
was one of those times.
We're out looking at real estate. We're doing something. And I said before we came back to the office, hey, you've got 40 minutes before your meeting. Do you want me to buy you lunch? And she said, yes. And we're driving down the road. And up in the distance is a McDonald's. And McDonald's, everywhere I've been, has had people actually taking orders since COVID. Except this McDonald's, no people, no person to help. What has happened since COVID in most McDonald's that I've been in is there is one register open and the kiosks are available. And I always choose the register because I'm a fan of customer service. It's part of my experience. The customer service experience is the magic of my dining out. The food is less important to me than the customer service experience. Except, again, McDonald's in the same market that 4 years ago I said I'd never walk into again is back to their old tricks. And so I'm done. I'm just done.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If 4 years ago when you walked into that McDonald's on Canal Street.
Yes.
And let me preface this by saying, if you're listening to this, this is for anyone who has to take their business through a transition. Listen up.
Okay, I like it.
Would it have made a difference for you if you walked in, and let me just do the whole thing.
Sure.
And you said that you wanted to order, and the person said, oh, well, you're in luck because we got a new system. Can I show it to you? Come here, let me show you how this is going to work. So what is it that you want today? You want okay, and then you're just going to do this, and you're going to do this. And what was your name? David? David. All right, David, here we go. So what else and something to drink? Okay, watch how easy this is, David. You go right here and then there. And listen, all the McDonald's are going to go toward this system. So I want this to be as smooth as possible for you as you're getting used to it.
The answer is, if the person had done that, I'd have said, no, thank you. I don't want to train to work your register, just like I don't want to do self-checkout at the grocery store. No, thanks.
Here's the problem that I find with this. You just a few minutes ago said we have to come along with the times.
We do.
And I'm sorry to tell you that, yes, you have the choice to go someplace else. Yes. However, if you want to go to the places you maybe have always gone, many places are going to this kind of system, grocery stores, restaurants, etc., where you have to do it yourself.
It's interesting that you say that because Walmart is doing away with much of their self-checkout. They have found that it is much more effective and much less shrinkage if they have people checking people out.
Well, no shit, really.
Yes.
If you don't let people do their own thing, I mean, the first time I left a Walmart self-checkout and somebody asked to see my receipt at the door.
Mm-hmm. Now,
there's no way. I said, no, thank you, kept walking. If you don't trust me to do it, then have people doing it.
Now,
plus the fact there are 4 employees standing around in the self-checkout area. They could be checking.
And instead they're talking and looking at each other's phones and laughing. And that's a fact. Here's one caveat to what I'm saying. Have you ever been to an Amazon grocery store?
Love it, yes.
That is not self-checkout. It is no checkout.
Right.
Because the technology, the minute you pick something up, Amazon knows you got it.
Yeah.
And your Amazon app is where you ring up and you don't have to type a thing in.
I think this is why so many people love Instacart and grocery pickup, like Target pickup, and Instacart delivery and all that, because the customer service experience has kind of gone away in a lot of these places. Now, this is also why I tell people that I coach and businesses that I coach, it's easy to stand out. It's easier than ever to stand out.
That's right.
Because customer service has gone away in so many areas that if you just give a little bit of service, just a little, people are blown away. They can't believe it.
That's exactly right.
The people that I coach even are blown away at my availability and my willingness. I've got a client right now that I'm coaching, a realtor, and they've been really sick the last couple of weeks.
Right.
And right before we started recording this, I reached out, and because their preferred method of communication is texting. So I texted and said, hey, I know you got a couple closings coming up. Is there anything I can do to help facilitate that? Sit next to you and put your paperwork in, go shop for some closing gifts. Do I need to sit in at some signings for you? I'm just not sure where you are right now and want to know that I'm available.
Right.
And they texted me back and said, I'm so so incredibly blessed to have people like you in my life. And here's what I'm doing and how I'm handling all this. And so, I just think it's not hard to stand out. It's not hard to give exceptional customer service, especially today when most places and people are not given it.
As people move toward a virtual lifestyle, human interaction and personal touch is more important, not less important.
Absolutely. And people, if I can say it, our age and older, make the mistake of saying, well, the human contact's just going away. No. It's getting more important. And our skill set, having come up when we did, so much more valuable, because right now there's a whole generation of people that are living in the world, being raised in the world and growing up in this world where it is a lot of virtual stuff. They're missing this piece, and our specialties more valuable than ever.
That's exactly right. We started talking about grit. Now we're talking about soft skills.
Yeah.
And many, many, many restaurants specifically are missing the boat when it comes to soft skills.
I know.
That restaurant in the airport that I wanted to set on fire because they said, no, you have to use your QR code. And I said, no, I'm not at one of those kiosks where you order with the QR. I'm at a sit-down restaurant, and there's a sign right there that says, ask my server. And the lady said, oh, there are no servers. How do I ask my server if there are no servers? It's ridiculous. So the moral of the story for me, as we talk about evolving with the industry, is don't let the industry evolve past the customer. Ooh. That's the mistake they're making. They're evolving past the customer.
It's still people behind the app.
That's right.
It's still people.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's right. And you can't forget it. Do I have a slick online application for my loans? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why? Because people shop that way now.
Yeah.
So I need to be there too. But I have real appointments with real people because they still crave the comfort of knowing the person they are working with. And if you're missing that in your business is not going to make it.
Yep.
So don't let your business evolve past the customer. Bring the customer along. Come along now. Let's go together. Oh, you don't like ordering from the kiosk? Well, great, because Cynthia's job is to help people like you. Cynthia, can you take an order?
You just asked me today, do you present offers in person?
That's right.
And my answer is yes, whenever possible. If it's not possible, I'll do it on the I want to be on the phone, have them also on the phone or on FaceTime, and we both have our computers in front of us.
Sure.
And we open the document and walk through it together if I can't do it face to face. And I think there's something very special to that, and something that our industry is losing as realtors. We're losing it, and we need to recapture it, because you're right. God, that was good, David. That's a gold star. 5 stars, 5 out of 5.
Okay, one thing we haven't done in a couple of shows is take a look at...
make fun of some listing photos?
Yes. Take a look at the hot sheet or new listings, and there are 36 new listings today. Yes,
all right, let's take
I would
a look.
like to do that.
Which one do you want to see?
I want to see the least expensive and the most expensive.
Least expensive in Kennewick, Washington, stick-built home. Here we
Beautiful.
go. $314,900 brought to us by Home Smart Elite Brokers. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1 level.
And it's perfect for first-time home buyers.
Ooh,
it really is perfect for first-time home buyers.
Cute as can be. I was ready to poke fun at this. Dang it.
Good professional
David
staging.
Joshua. I was hoping to make fun of it, but here we are. Really, really good staging. So much so that you almost don't notice this burgundy carpet, some weird thing sticking out of the wall here, and the popcorn ceilings.
Right. And,
so
and the fact that this wall no longer goes all the way to the top is interesting.
Let me give you a tip if you're a home buyer. When I go into homes, I tell people look at the walls and the corners.
Right.
Because it makes you focus off of the pretty staging.
Right.
Kitchen has a cute remodel.
The kitchen's great.
Love it. First-time home buyer all day long, $314,900.
First-time home buyer or someone who wants to get into the world of investing but wants to buy it as a primary residence and live in it for 12 months.
Wow.
That would be a great way to do it
Primary
as well.
bedroom, bathroom, really nice. Huge backyard. One bathroom. That's the one drawback I see.
And they had a room with a framed-in, outdoor screened-in area with no screens.
It's neither here nor there. Now, what do you want to see?
It's definitely not there.
You want to see the most now?
Sure.
Most expensive.
Same town.
Also in Kennewick, Washington.
Here we go.
4-bedroom, 3-bath. Forever Views by J.K. Monarch.
Okay.
Brought to us by Century 21.
21.
Is there snow in the listing photo?
Yeah.
How is that new on the market? That's not snow. It's got to be something else.
Got to be something else.
All right, here we go.
Nope, there's snow on the roof across the street, too.
Ooh. If it's new today in June, maybe let's get some updated. Oh, proposed new construction start date 5/1/2023.
I gotcha. So this is a built like.
Or similar, right?
Yes. So they're showing us pictures of a house that already exists.
Let's get out of that then.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. Reed Street, Neal Street. This is probably going to be a resale.
It looks it.
There we go. Stunning Gretel Crawford home brought to us by Windermere Group 1.
That's an interesting driveway setup.
Stunning. Maybe I'm just a weirdo. Xeriscape.
I'm confused.
It's a nice light fixture.
Yeah, she has great sensibility.
$784,900. That's pretty.
That's very nice. Delightful. What's the square footage of this house? Because it looks like it's built in somebody's side yard.
Almost 3,000.
Okay. Is it like on a cliff?
I am underwhelmed. Beautiful pictures, beautiful staging, but for me, underwhelming at best. And I don't know why. I can't really tell you.
And it just
seems...
It's almost half an acre, but it sure does look like it's right up on the neighbor, doesn't it?
Super boring. I don't know why I think this is such a boring house. Maybe... All right. Maybe move the truck out of the garage when you take the picture of the garage.
Maybe.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No. Okay, so it's on a hill. So that's interesting. That's kind of neat. And now that I can see it, it doesn't look like it's in somebody's side yard.
Fart's sake. It's off 47th.
Yeah. It's up on a hill. Aren't houses more expensive if they're next to water or on a hill?
I don't know. This is Tri-Cities. Everything's next to water or on a hill. You're 5 minutes from either one all the time. Somebody's going to fall in love with it. So there you go.
And now we'll go to the middle of the road.
The middle would be like 450.
Okay. Let's check out 449 or 470.
Whitman, 445 on Ledbetter. Again, Kennewick. We've got a Kennewick theme today.
It is a big Kennewick
Professional
theme.
Realty Services brings us a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single level on a half an acre, 1,616 square feet on Ledbetter Street in Kennewick, Washington. Cute.
That's a nice front
Love
presentation.
the brick and the
Yeah, nice presentation.
Yeah, and this is a great part of town as well because it feels very out in the country, but you're just a couple minutes from town. I like the vintage looking light fixture over the dining table. That's cool. This is a great little property. I'm not sure about the avocado wall in the kitchen. That's an interesting color choice.
Well, if you're making some guac and
festive.
you have an accident, everything's going to be
festive.
Okay.
It's festive.
And let's put it in the bedroom. We'll do a little guac in the bedroom.
It matches with their decor. So that was a cool shower. Did you see that?
It was cool. Yes.
I guess the shower wasn't very cool, but
big skylights over the shower
and the guac. Wow, they carried it through.
They did.
Okay, I will say this. So something I say to clients all the time is paint is cheap.
Yeah, and I don't hate it. I think their sensibility is interesting. I think
beautiful.
The way they decorated it
Look
is
at that backyard.
Kind of fun.
Little pond over here. Oh, it's some good looking grass. That's some good looking grass right there.
They've spent some money on the chemicals for the grass.
Great garage, Pat. I mean, this is an awesome house.
For not much money.
Man cave.
Okay.
Must be built into the garage. Very cool. So there you go. There's a little snapshot of our market.
I like it.
We are the Tri-Cities, but that was Kennewick.
All Kennewick all the time.
If you want to see something besides Kennewick, you can go to SherwoodAustinHomes.com. You can search your little heart out anywhere.
That's exactly right.
Want.
Your next home is only a click away at SherwoodAustinHomes.com. That's SherwoodAustinHomes.com.
Thanks for letting me work through my rage today.
Yeah, I'm glad. And thanks for not yelling at me for talking about gentle parenting. That was a neat article, though. It was very interesting.
It's a complicated issue because there's a lot of different kinds of gentle parenting. That's why I didn't want to get into it, really.
I don't know what any of that means. I just know the article talked about gentle parenting.
Yeah.
And leaving children ill-equipped to deal with
It's
adversity.
like an article on autism, making that kind of general sweeping statements. You can't because it's too complicated. It's that kind of thing.
I think never telling your kid no is different than gentle parenting.
For sure.
Never telling your kid no is unhealthy, though.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I'd agree.
Kids need boundaries. Kids need to hear no.
People hear no, so teach them how to deal with it.
And it makes them feel safer, believe it or not.
Yeah.
There you go. I think this has been an interesting episode.
Well, we'll see. Share it with your friends and family, will you? We're not just doing this for our health. We're trying to grow this thing because we think we have some valuable things to share with you, and we hope you do too.
There you have it. There it is. For Londa, Joanne, Sherwood, Austin, I'm David Austin. We'll see you next week.